Soldiers foil armed robbery on Abuja-Kaduna Highway. On the foreign scene, U.S. introduces $15,000 visa for Nigerians. Russia deploys a Navy vessel to escort Venezuelan crude oil. Heart of the Matter today focuses on curtailing fire outbreaks, while feature is on Indani tribe. My name is Stephen Agbaje. With me on the news is
Feyi Shara Owomoyela. You can also listen to us live streams via www.radionigeriaibadan.gov.ng or watch us live on Facebook at Premier FM 93.5. Nigeria belongs to us all. Contribute your quota to make her great. And now the news in detail. The Federal High Court in Abuja has granted to former Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Mr. Abubakar Malami, his wife and son bail of 500 million naira each, with conditions including the submission of landed property documents and traveling papers. The presiding judge, Justice Emeka Nwite, admitted the defendants to bail following their arraignment on a 16-count charge filed by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. According to the judge, the sureties must have landed property in Asokoro, Maitama, and Gwarimpa in Abuja. The documents of the properties are to be verified by the Deputy Chief Registrar of the court, while the sureties are also to depose to an affidavit of means. Mr. Malami was also ordered to deposit his travel documents with the court and must not travel out of the country without the permission of the court. The defendants and their sureties were also directed to submit 2 recent passport photographs, each to the court registry. Meanwhile, Malami has been ordered to be remanded in Kuje Correctional Center pending his perfection of the bail conditions. The court fixed February 17 for the commencement of the trial of the corruption charges. The FCC had filed a 16-count charge bordering on money laundering against Malami, his son Abdulaziz, and his wife over alleged financial transactions amounting to about 9 billion naira.
Meanwhile, former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mr. Abubakar Malami, has called for calm after court slammed him and members of his family involved in alleged corruption, a 1.5 billion naira bail condition. Reacting, Mr. Malami, in a statement on his verified Facebook page, urged the general public to remain calm. The former minister said he remained fully committed to the rule of law, stressing that he has consistently demonstrated respect for due process and the authority of the courts. Malami said he would continue to comply strictly with all lawful directives and conditions as determined by the court.
And away from all that, the Oyo State Ambassador of the Renewed Hope, Senator Teslim Folarin, has urged Nigerians to remain calm, informed and supportive of the ongoing tax reforms, describing them as critical measures aimed at strengthening Nigeria's revenue base and ensuring sustainable national development. Senator Folarin made the call during the continuation of the federal constituencies tour of the Irekpo, Olorunshogo, Orelope federal constituencies and Atisbo Shaki West, Shaki East, organized by the All Progressives Congress APC in collaboration with Renewed Hope ambassadors Oyo State held in Kishi. The former Senate leader maintained that the new tax laws were not designed to impose additional hardship on Nigerians. Rather, the reforms focused on improving efficiency, blocking revenue leakages, and reducing Nigeria's long-standing overdependence on oil revenue. He noted that Nigeria's tax to GDP ratio remains among the lowest globally, limiting government capacity to adequately fund critical sectors such as infrastructure, healthcare, education, and security without excessive borrowing. The team of Renewed Hope ambassador, however, conveyed President Tinubu's appreciation to party members and the people of the state for their support during the 2023 presidential election. Senator Folarin further restated that the Oyo State chapter of APC was targeting improvement on its 2023 electoral performance ahead of the next year general election. In their separate remarks, Senator representing Oyo North, Dr. Abdulfatai Buhari, the lawmaker representing Oyo South, Senator Sharafuddin Ali, Senator Ayo Adeseun, Senator Hosea Agbola, and State Chairman of the party, Alhaji Olaide Abbas, appealed to party members to uphold discipline and strengthen internal cohesion.
The chairman of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, Abuja District, Mr. Ben Enamudu, has dismissed claims that bank balances are taxed under Nigeria's new tax regime, saying only certain electronic transfers attract a 50 naira stamp duty and that the reforms are designed to shield low-income earners. Speaking in an interview with newsmen, Mr. Enamudu said misinformation about the reforms, particularly around bank transfers and income threshold, has caused undue concern among Nigerians. He explains that the charge applicable to electronic transfers is a stamp duty, not a tax on deposits or account balances. According to him, the reform also changes who bears the cost of the duty. Mr. Enamudu says several transactions are exempt from the charge, which include salary accounts, and payment of salaries are exempted from stamp duty, while transfers below 10,000 naira are also exempted. He noted that transfers between personal accounts held in different banks still attract stamp duty. Mr. Enamudu also noted that essential goods and services remain exempt from value-added tax. He stated further that people won't pay VAT on basic food items, medicals, pharmaceuticals, education, and others.
The Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, has warned the general public against individuals and groups attempting to sell or transfer ownership of a parcel of land belonging to the corporation in Ibadan, Oyo State. The land located along Idiakwe, Bashanru Road, Ibadan, is an FRCN transmitting station property and is not for sale. In a statement issued by the Director General of FRCN, Dr. Muhammad Bulama, the corporation said it has not authorized any individual or group to sell, lease or transfer the property, stressing that any such transaction is illegal, unauthorized and null and void. The statement explained that the land has been designated for the installation of a new FRCN medium wave transmitter scheduled for installation this year, as part of the federal government's plan to strengthen broadcast infrastructure and ensure effective media coverage across the Southwest Zone. According to the statement, the federal government has already awarded the contract for the Southwest Medium Wave Transmitter project in line with the present administration's commitment to providing Nigerians with credible and timely information. Dr. Bulama advised members of the public to exercise caution and always verify the authenticity of any transaction involving FRCN's property with the corporation's management before making any payment or commitment, in order not to fall victim to fraudsters. The Director General further warned that anyone found to be involved in the unauthorized sale or transfer of FRCN property will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law, urging the public to remain vigilant and report any suspicious activities to the appropriate authorities. The statement said further inquiries should be directed to the Zonal Director, Ibadan.
Osun State Governor Senator Ademola Adeleke has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to the protection and promotion of indigenous beliefs and cultural heritage, describing traditional worshippers as indispensable stakeholders in the peace, unity and development of the state. The governor stated this at a 2026 Isheshe prayer session organized by traditional worshippers to usher in the new year, held at the parking lot of the governor's office, Bolaige House, Osun State Secretariat. Governor Adeleke expressed delight at being among traditional worshippers, apologizing for his absence at previous editions of the prayer session, while noting that his administration had always been adequately represented. He commended the worshippers for their consistent prayers, attributing the achievements recorded by his government to divine support. Speaking on behalf of traditional worshippers, their president, Dr. Oluseyi Atunde, thanked Governor Adeleke for recognizing indigenous tradition and giving them the rightful place in the affairs of the state. Dr. Atunde noted that traditional worshippers have continued to play vital roles in promoting peace, unity and community development across Osun State, stressing that the preservation of culture and heritage is essential for sustainable development. He assured the governor of the total support of traditional worshippers, pledging their readiness to stand with the Adeleke administration through 2030, while committing to sustained prayers and spiritual support for the continued progress of the state.
Labour sector is one of the most important sectors in Nigeria as it deals with the entire workforce of the nation. In the outgone year, the sector experienced many ups and downs, including the intervention of labor unions on welfare of members. Our correspondent Olubumi Agbola recalls some of the activities within the sector in 2025.
The year 2025 began on a positive note for workers in the Southwest as the federal government donated 10 buses to ease transportation challenges faced by workers following the removal of fuel subsidy. The 10 compressed natural gas (CNG) buses given to the Nigeria Labour Congress (NSC) in Oyo State were received in Ibadan for an onward distribution to other state councils of the NSC in the Southwest Zone. Speaking during the commissioning of the buses at the NSC Secretariat at Agodi, Ibadan, the president of the NSC Labour Congress, Mr. Joe Ajero, stressed the importance of sustained dialogue between the federal government and organized labor to ensure effective implementation of government policies. Also, in the year under review, the NSC rejected the proposed 50% tariff hike approved by the Nigeria Communications Commission (NSC). The decision prompted labor unions to call on Nigerians to boycott the services of major telecommunication companies across the country. Similarly, the creation of local government autonomy by the federal government generated mixed reactions among the key stakeholders nationwide. Another major event in 2025 saw the Federal Ministry of Labour and Employment, in collaboration with other national and international institutions, officially launch the Revised National Employment Policy (NEP) 2025. The landmark event held in Abuja on the 50th of August was convened by federal government with officials, workers, and some employers, organization, development partners, and civil society stakeholders in attendance. The Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Muhammad Meigeri, described the event as a strategic roadmap to address Nigeria employment challenges, including high youth unemployment, informality, gender inequalities, and regional disparities. On the contrary, speculation over planning by the federal government to move labor matters, including the minimum wage, from exclusive legislative list to the concurrent list, sparked widespread debate. Also in the year, the struggle for unconditional respect for workers' rights, including freedom of association, an end to intimidation and opposition to unlawful retrenchment, led the NLC to stage protests against some private sector's organizations such as Dangote Group, Sumal Group of Companies Ibadan, and Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company (IBEDC). The protest recorded positive outcomes across Oyo State. In their separate reactions, some workers in the state commended the proactiveness of labor unions in the state, but detected the absence of mobilization for a nationwide protest against insecurity.
Commend the unions in Oyo State for a job well done. I want to call the attention of the NLC to what happened in nationwide strike where the Oyo State Council didn't join.
They appealed to the NLC and its affiliated unions not to relent in defending the interest and welfare of workers across the state. Reacting, the Oyo State NLC chairman, Mr. Kayode Martins, reaffirmed the commitment of organized labor to defending the rights of workers both in the public and private sectors.
I want to appreciate the federal government for payment of retiree, and at the same time, they should please revisit the minimum wage. I want to enjoin the workers to please join hands with the government, both at the national and the state level.
Corroborating the efforts of labor unions in the state, Governor Seyi Makinde said payments of 13th month salary and prompt payments of workers' wages were gesture designed to re-echo his administration commitment to workers' welfare, appreciate workers for their dedication, as well as sustaining industrial peace in the state.
These two legs must continue to work together in the interest of our state. We'll continue to prioritize your welfare and your well-being.
Governor Makinde, however, stressed the need for harmonious relationship between the labor unions and the state government to achieve the much desired progress and development in the state. In Ibadan, Olubunmi Agbola, Radio Nigeria.
This is the world today, the stories that made the headlines. Court granted Malami others bail. Still to come, soldiers have foiled armed robbery on Abuja-Kaduna Highway. US introduces $15,000 visa for Nigerians. Russia deploys naval vessel to escort Venezuelan crude oil. Details shortly.
Glad to know you're with us on the midweek edition of The World Today. Now to the rest of the package. Nigerian Meteorological Agency NIMET has advised Nigerians to take precautionary measures against respiratory conditions ahead of hazy and sunny weather across the country. According to the agency, the envisaged sunny and hazy skies would affect this northern region from today to Friday, while patches of clouds with isolated thunderstorms and light rains would be in the southern regions. NIMET advised the motorists to drive with caution while under the rain, adding that airline operators are advised to get airport-specific weather reports from the agency for effective planning in their operations.
The Nigeria Police Force, Oyo State Command, has confirmed the attack on some personnel of the National Park at their office in Oyo Town. The Public Relations Officer, Mr. Olayinka Anyolade, stated this in a statement made available to the newsmen in Ibadan. Mr. Anyolade said the perpetrators were yet to be identified, while the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Femi Aruna, and other service chiefs are already on their way to the scene of the incident. Meanwhile, the tactical teams have also been deployed to prevent further breakdown of law and order. Radio Nigeria gathered that the perpetrators stormed the National Park Service office in Oloka, Orire local government area of Oyo State yesterday and were allegedly killed, and their ammunition were reportedly carted away.
Troops of 1 Division Nigeria Army Sector 1 Operation Fasanyama foiled an army robbery along the Abuja-Kaduna Highway following a distress call received during a routine patrol. In a statement, the acting deputy director of Army Public Relations, Shuaib Umar, said the troops received a distress call about an ongoing armed robbery at Nasarawa Doka and immediately mobilized to engage the criminals in neutralizing the threat. The statement notes that during the encounter, one of the arrested suspects, Kabiru Zayano, who sustained a gunshot wound in the leg, was promptly evacuated to a general hospital where he received first aid as the members of the criminal gang fled the scene. The statement adds that troops conducted a hot pursuit, but no further contact was made. No casualty or abduction was recorded during the operation. The arrested suspect will be handed over to the relevant security agency upon completion of the investigation. On the general security situation, the said troops have continued to maintain a strong presence, dominate the area, and ensure a secure environment. The Nigerian Army reassured the public of its commitment to safety and urged citizens to remain vigilant. It concluded that the Nigerian Army remains committed to safeguarding lives and property and urges members of the public to report suspicious activities to security agencies.
And now to the foreign scene, the United States has introduced new travel restrictions that could require Nigerians applying for B1, B2 visas to post bonds of up to $15,000. According to information published on the U.S. Department of State website, the payment of a bond does not guarantee visa issuance, noting that fees paid without the direction of a consular officer will not be refunded. Report says that out of the listed nations, African countries accounted for 24 of the 38, including Nigeria, in the updated list released by the U.S. State Department. It says visa bonds are financial guarantees required by the U.S. State Department for certain foreign nationals from countries classified as high risk who are applying for B1, B2 visas for business or tourism purposes. The implementation dates vary by country, with Nigeria's date set for January 21st, 2026.
All right, still taking the news around the world, Russia has deployed Navy vessels to escort an oil tanker also being pursued by U.S. forces across the Atlantic. The ship, which was historically transported Venezuelan crude oil, but is reporting that it is not carrying any at the moment, is currently between Iceland and the British Isles. Report says Bella One has been accused of breaking U.S. sanctions and shipping Iranian oil, as it has since changed its name to Marinera and reportedly reflagged from a Guyanese to a Russian vessel.
Now, sports. Super Eagles of Nigeria will battle the Desert Warriors of Algeria in the quarterfinals of the 2025 African Cup of Nations AFCON in Morocco. Algeria defeated Democratic Republic of Congo 1-0 yesterday to set up a mouth-watering clash with Nigeria on Saturday at 5 o'clock in the evening. Cote d'Ivoire also advanced to the quarterfinals after beating Burkina Faso 3-0 yesterday in the final round of 16 fixtures. Cote d'Ivoire will face Egypt in the quarterfinals. Other quarterfinal games include Mali versus Senegal and Cameroon versus host nation Morocco.
Heart of the matter today is on curtailing fire outbreaks. Is written by an intern from the Federal Polytechnic Offa, Rachel Adebomi.
On Christmas Eve, the iconic 25-story Great Nigeria Insurance GNI House on Martin Street in the Lagos Islands Business District caught fire. The fire destroyed goods worth millions of naira and displaced traders, with several deaths also recorded. As each year comes to an end, Nigeria is marked with huge blazes that usually consume markets, shopping plazas, and multi-story buildings, among others. The usual practice is that after each fire outbreak, the victims count their losses while the government talks on regret and promises which are not always come into fulfillment. On 30 December 2025, a fire broke out at the Arena Shopping Mall in Oshodi, Lagos, and consumed millions of naira worth of goods across many shops. Within 24 hours, yet another fire outbreak was reported in the Ikotun area of Lagos State. A separate fire outbreak was also reported at the Federal Inland Revenue Service office complex, which affected offices on upper floor. According to reports, fire incidents cost the country about 6 trillion naira in 5 years in one incident, while an outbreak in Kano State cost 2 trillion naira. It should be noted that Nigeria's peak fire season lasts for 15 weeks from late November, which the government should maintain high vigilance during this period. It has become imperative for the state government to take radical measures on the spacing of buildings on the island, as the buildings are too close to each other, making it easy for fires to spread. Also, streets are generally narrow and cannot accommodate firefighting trucks in the event of an inferno, while many buildings are poorly ventilated or inadequately lit, as there are no sprinklers or other equipment to control blazes. State governments should impose stricter guidelines for building approvals, especially external fire escapes. Before approvals are given for high-rise buildings, the fire service should make critical input into the designs. The government should ensure that proper designs are implemented, which should include fire hydrants, alarms, smoke detectors, and reservoirs filled with water at all times. Tall buildings should be painted with fire retardants to control the spread of an inferno, while street trading on sidewalks should be prohibited around busy areas. This will pave ways for ambulances and firefighters in case of emergencies. Local governments should build fire stations and recruit and train personnel for rescue operations. A situation where the National Assembly Joint Committee on Interior suspended the 2025 budget defense of the Federal Fire Service after it discovered multiple discrepancies in its budget proposal must be avoided, as such situations could impede its performance. The Parliament should therefore maintain strict oversight of the service to ensure optimum performance. Owners and managers of high-rise structures should conduct regular fire drills to acquaint their staff members with firefighting techniques, escape, and survival protocols.
And that script on curtailing fire outbreaks was written by an intern from the Federal Polytechnic Offa, Rachel Adebumi, and read by Olubukola Enimola.
And to end the news, here again are the day's top stories. The Federal High Court in Abuja has granted former Attorney General, Minister of Justice, Mr. Abubakar Malami, his wife and son bail of 500 million naira each, with conditions including the submission of landed property documents and traveling papers. Troops of 1 Division Nigerian Army Sector 1 Operation Fansan Yama have foiled an armed robbery along the Abuja-Kaduna Highway following a distress call received during a routine patrol. We also brought to you that Russia has deployed Navy vessels to escort an oil tanker also being pursued by U.S. forces across the Atlantic.
And that's it on the news. The World Today midweek edition. Do join us tomorrow for a fresh edition of the program. Rashida Makinde edited. I am Feyishara Owomuyela. Thanking you for listening from my colleague
Stephen Agbade. Thanks for listening, and we're now set to take you to Abuja studios for the next program.